Hello there. Hi. Welcome to another Friday night of fun crafting. I have to let you in on a little secret. I'm actually away this weekend. So this is actually being pre-recorded. I've pre-recorded this on Thursday afternoon for you guys to watch on Friday evening. So you can still chat to each other. If you have questions for me, I might not get back to you until sometime over the weekend. And I will be live on Sunday night. But this weekend we have our on-stage event, and what that is, Stampin' Up puts on a training event for demonstrators. It used to always be once a year, and it was a conference that would go for a few days. In the last couple of years, it's been twice a year and just like one day or several hours at a time. This time it's a one-day event at Darling Harbour. Really looking forward to catching up with, for the first time in 3 years, with a lot of my demonstrator friends. Very exciting. And we'll get to see a lot of new stuff. We're going to see the new, those of us who are attending will get to see the new mini catalogue that will be released in January and the new celebration offerings. So that's very exciting. And getting our hands on some of those products first is also a big perk of the event. I have a cat sitting just in front of my desk here, sunning himself in the sun. It makes it very difficult to get anything done. If any of you have seen my on my private VIP group, I put up some photos of what he's doing, sunning himself through the window with his legs in the air and making a spectacle of himself. So he's very distracting. So my apologies if I seem a little distracted. Okay, so about a week or so ago, I'm not exactly sure, I had a request to use a die set that we have in our annual catalogue called the Give It a Whirl dies. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to flip over to the desk and I'm going to show you, oh, dropped something on the floor, but that's okay. Nothing too important, I don't think. So I'm going to show you what the Give It a Whirl dies are all about. They are great for making interactive cards, and quite often I'll get requests to make this type of card, a card that does something, like it moves, or you can play around with the features of the card rather than just having a card that you write in and look at. It does something else. So Give It a Whirl dies allow you to do that. So let me switch over to the desk. Here we go. And my apologies if Crumpet, who's just over there, just up on the other side of my where my camera is, if he makes himself known, my apologies in advance for that. All right, so here's the annual catalogue. This is the current one that's running from May 22 to April 2023. And the Give It a Whirl dies, you will find actually all of our die sets are at the back. Okay, so we've got some bundles which where you've got a stamp set and dies to match, but then we have standalone dies which have their own section starting on page 168 and 69, and these are all in alphabetical order, so it makes them really easy to find. So if you're looking for Give It a Whirl, you'll find it under the G's on page 171, and I hope that you can see them okay. There's 21 dies in this set. It's a reasonably substantial die set. It is $68 here in Australia if you're buying this. But what it does, it allows you to make cards that remind me of the old view, what was it? Now I've forgotten the name of it, but it was where you could, was it Viewfinder, where you actually looked through? As a kid, I remember having one and I was so excited about it. You press the button and the view goes through the window of different things. It's on a round disc with like a little acetate windows with the pictures, and as you turn it you get to see all the different little pictures through the window. Well, this is the same kind of idea. If I've given that the wrong name, somebody might know it as something else, but the Give It a Whirl dies allow you to create that kind of an idea. So it's a bit of fun, something a little bit different. And I'm going to show you a couple of cards today, one that I made previously and the one that we're making today, which is this one here. And today I'm going to make the most basic version of this card. Okay, so if you're looking to get started with the Give It a Whirl dies, this is actually a really great starting point, because I've actually only used minimal bits, and I've used some paper and a bundle that we have in our annual catalogue. I'm using the Happier Than Happy stamp set. Let me find it for you. No, not that one. So it's called Happier Than Happy, and it's a great little, here it is, Happy Forest Friends is the name of the suite, which includes the stamp set that you can see here, this gorgeous paper in all these lovely earthy colours. We've got some beautiful ribbon, Old Olive and Sahara Sand ribbon, and then there's matching dies for the Happier Than Happy stamp set. The whole bundle is called Happier Than Happy Bundle, okay, so it's named after the stamp set. The dies are actually called Happy Forest dies. There is, Stampin' Up have actually done something now that I think is really great. You might have heard me mention this before. They've started to name the dies the same name as the stamp set. So this is one that was around before they started with that new naming convention. And so you've noticed that the Happy Forest dies are the dies, and the Happier Than Happy is the stamp set. Okay, but it's the Happier Than Happy bundle. Okay, the whole bundle, if you wanted both, are $85.50. So that's 10% off because it's a bundle. All of our bundles are always 10% off if you're getting those. Very, very cool. I really love them. I think they're really fun. And they're great for baby cards because you've got a hello baby in there, but you've got a thanks, you've got a welcome, which could also be for a baby card, and you've got the Happier Than Happy for you. So it's a great little set. Okay, and also if you are looking at making baby cards, it's not gender specific, so you could use these for a boy or for a girl. So I think that's a great little feature. Okay, so I'm combining those today with the Give It a Whirl dies. Okay, and I'm going to bring in those dies and let's have a look at them. All right, so like I said, it's quite a substantial set. Okay, we've got 21 dies in here. Did I say that right? Yes, 21 dies in here. And whoop, we've got the ones I'm going to use are just the basics today. We've got this this base, which actually gives us a beautiful stitched edge, and it's got a little notch in the side here so that when the window is behind, like behind here, you can actually turn it with your finger. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So if I show you on the card that I've already made, when we do this, you can see, and see there's even a little arrow. There's a die in there too. That little arrow there is what I use to make, you could draw on the arrow if you wanted to, but if you want to use their arrow, it's nice and neat. And then this actually turns and you have your different stamps or whatever it is you would like to have in the window. Now I have just stamped mine. Like I said, I'm doing it really, really basic today. However, you could use some of the shapes, like you could have hearts in the window, you could have stars, you could have clouds, you can have lots of different things, and you can also have different shaped windows. Okay, so I have, just put this here in the right place. I have used this kind of window that follows the shape of the circle, and that is this one right here. Okay, you can see it's cut out that little shape. Can you see that there? Can you see what I mean? Okay, so you can see, like I've got the fox in the window here. Isn't he cute? And I've used this shape window to do it. But if you didn't want that shape window, you've got other options. For example, you could have a heart. If you wanted to have a heart-shaped window, you can have a circle, and you can also have a rectangle, this one here. Now, they've done this so that it's really easy to do. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to cut our big stitched rectangle shape with the notch. And I've got some paper here. This is from the Happier Than Happy paper that comes along, and you can see it's very pretty. On the other side there, I've got like little, this reminds me of little bird footprints. That's what that reminds me of. But I've got these cute little mushrooms on this side, and that's the side that I've used here. And then there are only a couple of pieces to this. I've also got my bear and my trees, which are from the other die set, but they're an add-on. You wouldn't have to have these if you don't have them. There is a circle, okay, and there's also the cutting of the window. All right, so the basics are really, really simple. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using this circle, and you can see it's divided into like 3 quadrant, well, not quadrants, are they? Quadrants would be 4 of them, but yeah, 3 sections, let's just say that. And you'll notice that the 3 sections actually match up with this shape, okay? So that's pretty easy. But if you didn't want to have this shape, like I said, you could have the rectangles or the circles or whatever you would like, okay? But today, just to keep it easy, we're going to use this one. All right, now you'll notice I've got my take your pick tool here, which is a handy thing, but a pokey tool is also a useful thing. You'll notice in the middle of this die that there is a little hole. Can you see that little hole there? Okay, and you'll notice in the middle of this one that there's a little hole. So this makes it super easy. We're going to be cutting. I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine in a second. We're going to cut this here, okay, and we'll have that all set up, and then we're going to cut our die here with the notch in the side, and then I'm going to line up that hole with this hole, because there's, you know, there's a little hole at the bottom of this die as well. We're going to line those ones up, and we're going to cut this one as well, and then that's going to be, because of the hole, it's going to be perfectly aligned for this to show through. So it's very easy and really clever. So let's get to it and you'll see what I mean. So let's move these out of the way. And I'm also going to grab my cut and emboss machine. Didn't realise that was quite so far away. Sorry about that. And I'm going to zoom out so you can see what I'm doing better. Crumpet is wondering, what is she doing? And he's looking like he wants to get himself over here, so that might be interesting. All right, so I'm going to use a piece of white. Actually, I'll do it on this piece, this smaller piece here. So this is the piece I'm going to use right there, like that. And I'm going to run that through. Couldn't find my upper plate. My plate is hiding underneath. There we go. That's better. And we're going to pop that right there. I'll show you how close he is. Look. Can you see that? And you can run it back the other way if you're worried about it not cutting through the first time. You don't really need to do that, but that's just something I'm in the habit of running it one way and then the other to make sure I get a good cut. All right. Now, you'll notice that you get a little bit of an imprint from these pieces. I actually really like that because it makes it really easy for me to see where I need to do my stamping, because those shapes, if you can see it, I don't know if you can. Yes, you can kind of see it in the light there. That's going to match up perfectly with my window shape. All right, so that makes it super easy to do. All right, so let's move that out of the way. And then I'm also going to, while I'm here, I'm going to use my mushroom paper from the matching bundle. I'm going to push that through. It makes a bit of a clunking sound. Don't ever worry about that. It means it's doing its job. It's working properly. All right, so now hopefully you can see we've cut out this shape. All right, and I hope you can see there is a little hole right there in the middle. Can you see that hole? Just there. All right, so what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be pushing this through again, but this time I'm going to use the window that I want to have, and I'm going to line up the hole at the bottom of my window with the hole that is actually in here. And you could have, I mean, I'm having mine so it's at the top, but if I wanted to, I could have it appearing at the side, okay? And it could be whatever's appearing in our window here, okay? So totally is up to you where you want that window to be. All right, so I'm going to line that up so it's sitting straight, and then just make sure the hole is aligned. and then we run it back through. And as long as you've lined up the hole, it's going to work. Now, something you do need for this, you're going to need a brad. For those of you who haven't used brads in years, right, so you can see now we've got our hole here cut out. All right, so I'm going to need this again in a minute, but not for a second. So I'm just going to put it to one side. Not so far away this time though, because I'll need that again. All right, so I've got my piece here with the hole, and I've got my circle that's going to go behind here. Okay, and you'll see that the circle also has a hole in it, so that's also going to line up with the hole that's on top. Right, really easy. They've made it so easy for us to do this. And if you were doing it, you know, trying to measure all your pieces of paper, I'm going to bring it back in. If you're trying to measure all your bits of paper, it would be so much more difficult, but this has made it really easy for us. All right, so this one is going to go, when you line those up, you can see that perfectly aligns this on the side so you can turn it. But first of all, I need to do some stamping. Okay, so I'm going to be using this set that I was just mentioning a moment ago. I'm going to use the fox, I'm going to use the owl, and I'm going to use the bear on the outside. As you can see, the bear, it's almost like he's looking up at the other creatures. And I've also got a happy birthday. Now you'll notice that the happy birthday is not in this set. The happy birthday is from a different set. It's from the Peaceful Moments set. And I've just got that one right there, the happy birthday, which I thought that was a good little one. All right, so let's pop the fox. Size D is fine for the fox. He fits nicely on block D. And then we also need the owl. He can be on a smaller one. B or C is fine for the owl. Let's move those over. I'm going to start with the owl. And you can do it in grey granite, you can do it in smoky slate, any of the beigey sort of grey, or even Sahara sand. I'm using grey granite and stuff. Now, something I have noticed doing this is you want to try and keep them a little bit lower. So I sort of put his feet on either side of that circle. Let's just, right, so you can see he's right there in the middle of that window. So you can see where that window is going to go. It's going to be like that, and he'll look terrific in that window. Okay, so then the next one, we're going to do the fox. And this time I'm going to use Calypso Coral for this, which this is the colour that's in the paper with all the mushrooms, so it's going to match in quite well. And I'm going to pop him. Now, once again, I want to go lowish, but I'm trying not to go onto the other windows because he's a bit of a bigger stamp. But I can see where it's meant to go. All right. Oh, I did a little bit of overstamping there, but anyway, you get the idea. This is correct. And now we have a cat that wants to be involved. Where do you think you're going, Crumpet? Come on, get off here. Oh, dear. There you go. All right, and then we have our happy birthday. Now, for the happy birthday, I went with Early Espresso, which is the darkest brown that's in this paper. Even though it's not specifically in this piece, it doesn't matter. This one, we want to have that low-ish down again, down towards the middle, just like that. All right. So you want to err on the side of being a little bit closer to the center rather than being too close to the outside, which is when you can cut some of it off. All right, so this one now is going to go behind here. All right, I could have gone a little higher with that one, but anyway, you get the idea. Now we have got this collection of round and square brads. If you're looking for embellishment, when you look at embellishments in our catalogues, you'll see we didn't have brads for a long, long time. They were like something they brought in more recently. Just looking to see. Here they are, the round and square brads. They're on page 141, and they are, there's 200 of them in a pack. There's 2 different shapes, and they're black and white. Okay, so it gives you an idea. Now, you could use the square ones if you wanted to, but I thought the round ones were better for this because they're little and they don't show very much. If you wanted it to be more of a feature, you could use a black one. But if I just pull out a white one, and that you can see they're very small. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it through the top hole, and then I'm going to put it through the bottom hole. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to, whoops, split it apart at the back. All right, just so it sits like that. All right, and that's actually going to hold that in place quite nicely. All right, now this now needs to get attached to our base. I've got a Sahara Sand base because Sahara Sand is one of the key colors in this suite of products in the Happier Than Happy stuff, or Happy Forest, I should say. And I'm going to use a bone folder just to fold that down. Now, this is how easy this is, okay? So this is going to go on here. We're going to decorate it with the bear and so forth in a second, okay? But you can kind of get the idea how easy this is. Now, the one that I did earlier, I glued it down with seal, okay? So I put the seal around here, and here, okay? What you need to be careful of, you could also use Tombow, but what you need to be careful of is you don't want to go too close to where this turns, because you don't want to glue your don't want to glue this piece closed. Okay, so you know, you would go all the way around here, you would stop here, and you would stop here, leave that bit open, and then start again and do the top. Okay, and then that just glues down flat. All right, now if you wanted to, you could have your little arrow. I've still got an arrow left from earlier. I don't know if you can see it. Look how tiny it is. All right, so a little tiny arrow. All right, and then there's also an arrow here with a longer end. These are in those dies. Just show you where they are. We've actually got a couple of different, that's these two, so the little arrow and a longer arrow. Okay, there's also a dotted arrow here that will dot, and there's a couple more dotted ones. So you've actually got a lot of choices when it comes to the arrows as to what kind of arrow that you use, but it's nice to have something that indicates to somebody that that's what they need to do, is to turn it. And you can have it sitting on the circle, right on the edge of the circle, or you can do like I've done. It makes sense to me to actually have this piece like on the card front, on the card base. Okay, so that makes sense. And I did that in Early Espresso because Early Espresso matches my ink that I did my sentiments. So that just made sense to me. Now, if you wanted to, you might notice that one of the other ones, this one here, this would allow you to have like a different colored piece if you wanted to. Pop it in here so it sits right there, and then your arrow is going to be like a little dotted piece in a different color. You can do that as well. But for this one, I just chose to cut them out with the Early Espresso. All right, there is one other option when it comes to sticking this down, and that would be to use dimensionals and actually pop the whole thing up. The important thing is you don't want your glue too close to the circle, because you need to be able to move this circle. Okay, you want to make sure that whoop, and you want to stick that down properly. You want to make sure that it can be turned. All right, but isn't this actually very easy? And I think a lot of people, maybe it was really popular the first year that we had it, and then I think maybe some people have been a little bit overwhelmed by it and thought it was going to be really difficult to use. It's actually not difficult at all. All right, so I'm actually, this time I'm going to use a couple of mini dimensionals, and I'm going to put them close to here, and I'm actually going to pop this up. All right, and I'm going to put another mini dimensional here and another one here, and then you can use full-size dimensionals, or you could keep using minis if you want to, but you could use full-size dimensionals everywhere else. So you could use dimensionals, or you can use other glue, but just make sure that you're not popping. And I'm going to use dimensionals to give it good, so it doesn't sag down. I'm going to use dimensionals in lots of places. There's not a lot of room here, so for that bit I'm going to use a mini. So I'm using a combination of, if you're going to use dimensionals, I would use a combination of the large and the small. If I was going to glue it, you can either go seal, you can go Tombow, you can even go tape, okay? But don't go too close to the circle, because you want that to turn freely for the card to actually work the way you want it to work. And then we're just going to pull that off. So really there is only two pieces, this piece here and the circle, and it's on a card base. That's it. That's how easy this is. So please don't be overwhelmed by this die. I think this is a really great idea for kids' gifts. Like, you know, kids will think this is great that they can turn a circle and make it say something or see different creatures or whatever turning in there. I was thinking it would be really good, like this one would be great. I've made it as a birthday card, but you could also make it as a baby card. There we go. So this time it's up on dimensionals and it turns freely. Okay, so you can go either way. So let's finish decorating it. I've got my bear. Now the bear, whoops, he's already on a block. That's why he's not in there. What did I do with the bear? Maybe that was what fell down before. Maybe. Found it. All right. I just moved it over to the other side of the desk and didn't realize I did that. All right. So I'm going to do him in early espresso to bring in more of that dark brown. What I love about this bear is he's quite solid, but he's what they call a distinctive stamp. So he's dark and light in different places. Okay. And all of these are. Okay. They're not just a solid, just a brown bear. You've got, he's darker on this leg and his arm and on his tummy, and a little bit more shading around in his neck and on his ears. Okay, so let's stamp him. You don't need to use a mat underneath because these are rubber stamps and they've got the extra foam. Okay, and they do stamp beautifully. Look at that. Isn't that cute? He's lovely. And see what I mean about the dark and the light? He's different colors depending on where the shadow falls. All right, so we have got in our dies that match this is the Happy Forest dies. Let me find the bear. There he is. And that's going to get cut out there. He's going to go through my cut and emboss machine. All right. I could also cut out some like little acorns and mushrooms and things, but there's actually plenty of mushrooms on the paper, so I'm not even going to worry about that. So let's, and you can see I've already cut out the couple of little trees from the same die set. I've cut those out of old olive. I did that ahead of time. So let's bring in our cut and emboss machine. So around the time that you guys are watching me do this, I'm at Darling Harbour, and we are, where's my scissors? We are getting, well, we've been treated to a very nice dessert bar, I believe. I'm not exactly sure how all that works, but we're getting that, and I'm staying with a couple of friends. We're staying at the Novotel, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to the weekend. It'll be lovely. And Swear Stampin' Up does, they hand out their awards for the year and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty nice. So it's a lovely chance. But the best part of all, of course, is catching up with all our demonstrator friends and staff and people like that that we haven't seen for a couple of years. So that's going to be really fun. All right, give me a second. All right, so there's our Mr. Bear. Isn't he cute? He's super cute. And my little arrow is still here, pointing to the bear. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, don't want to lose my arrow. Actually, I'll put the arrow on first, okay, because that makes sense, doesn't it, given that we don't want to lose it. And probably the easiest thing to do with that is to stick it on with a little dot of, you could use, I think Tombow's the easiest. You could use glue dot, but I think it's such a tiny, tiny little arrow, I think a glue dot, I think Tombow works best. There you go, just like that. So we're showing the direction of how you would go about turning your circle. And then we've got our bear, and we're going to put some dimensionals behind him. Oh, this dimensional sheet is almost done. I might have to add some more dimensionals, but we'll just do 3 for now. And it's almost like he's looking up at these guys, almost. And then we've got our couple of little trees. So I'm going to put one tree right about here. And I could put another one, you know, next to that if I wanted to, or I can put another tree like I did on the original one. All right, let's have a look at the original. The original, I had one up here and one here. This time I'm thinking I might do one here and one here. That's what I might do. And I'm going to use my Tombow for that too, because that's easy to work with. All right, so let's pop that on. So I hope you're not missing me too much tonight, guys. I'm sorry I'm not actually with you in person, well, with you live tonight. This is the next best thing. It was either that or not go live at all, and I don't want to do that to you. So I know a lot of people here tell me that they love the Friday night and Sunday night lives. I will be back live on Sunday night. But here's something else I want to tell you that I would love you to know. We have often things coming up like specials or promotions, or I do a lot of tips and ideas and all sorts of stuff. You get the best of that by being signed up to my newsletter. Okay, so what I would suggest is that you make sure that you are subscribed, and you can do that by heading to my blog. I'll put the address up on the screen right now. Give me a second. Here it is. All right, so that's the blog address, lhiggins.blogspot.com, okay? And when you go in there, especially if you're using a laptop, just down below the top banner, over on the right-hand side is a sign-up form, and that allows you to sign up and get the newsletter. And the newsletter comes out at least twice a month. I try and be a little regular and do it maybe weekly, but definitely twice a month. Okay, there's always one early in the month to tell you what new things are coming or what new things have just been released, and then there'll be another one later on in the month with reminders and that kind of stuff. So so yeah, if you would like to be getting all that kind of news, I would love you to sign up for the newsletter, okay? That's how we can stay in touch better, and I can make sure that you don't miss out on anything, because nobody likes to miss out. That's just how we are as human beings. We like to make sure we're getting the things that we want to get. All right, so here we go. We've got our little, which one do you like best? Do you like the one that's got the do you like the one that's on the dimensionals, or do you like the one that's flat? I think the dimensionals one looks a little classier, to be honest. So you get like a little bit of a shadow because it's not completely flat too. And I think that does look better. I definitely do. All right, so there's your card for tonight, guys. I'm only doing one tonight because I'm not here, and I wanted to make sure I touch base with you all. Don't forget, we have Craft Along coming up. That's next weekend, the 26th of, sorry, not next weekend, but the one after. It's the 26th of November. And that will be a crafting session. We're going to be doing magical masking techniques. So you're going to learn how to do some fantastic masking with some layered masking. And I'm also going to have a whole bunch of tutorials for anyone who's qualified for that. Even if you're just watching, and you don't have to actually craft along if you don't want to. You can always go back and watch the replay. If you placed an order last month, you'll have a supply pack coming to make the project with me. If you place an order this month, you're going to get a supply pack for next month's craft along. Okay, and more details about that will be in the newsletter. Okay, see, it all goes together. All right, guys, it's been lovely to having you here with me tonight. Thank you so much. I hope that if anyone has any requests or anything you would like me to come up with over the next little bit, don't forget I'll be back Sunday night. Just ask if there's ever anything you would like me to use. This was a request. Somebody asked me to show them how to use the Give It a Whirl dies. I am sorry, I don't actually remember who it was that asked me. So if that was you, sing out and say, hey, it was me. Because I don't remember who it was that asked me. I can't find the message, but I know somebody did. So this is the result, and it's been fun to use this set again. I haven't used it in a really long time. Okay, guys, you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see many of you, I hope, on Sunday night, where I will be back live again. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Bye, guys.